up, everybody? Welcome to Sixers Postgame Live. Sixers win 126-116 against the Hawks. An amazing game. We're going to break down our top takeaways, player of the game, grades, all that and more. Joining me, my man, Al. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, great bounce back win after losing 2 games. I'm sorry I can't get used to these in-season tournament courts. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just can't do it.
Love it, man. Also joining us, my man, Mitch. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm having a great day. What a game here. Seriously, what a game, even though I don't like Tobias. God dang it. He had a great game.
He had another nice one tonight. We're going to get into it. Guys, if you're watching this live, please be sure to comment your thoughts on the game. Give this video a like. If you want more Jaden Springer minutes, because the Sixers do not lose when Jaden Springer plays. He has been amazing. We're going to talk about that first. We have Quentin in the house saying Toby buckets. Springer getting some late game TikTok. Springer got minutes in the first half as well. Toby Bryant equals Billy Wagner. Oh my God. All right. Let's jump right into this thing and talk about Jaden Springer, who finished the game with 8 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks in 22 minutes, back-to-back games with 20 plus minutes or more. It was a plus minus zero. I thought that would be a little bit higher. But really clamping down Trae Young in the fourth quarter when it mattered. It was an amazing, amazing thing to watch. You saw Trae really not be able to do anything against Springer. Trae kept trying to turn the ball over, tried to beat his defender off the screen. But Springer, man, kept sliding with Trae the entire time. And it was amazing. And you saw that the thing that's so frustrating to watch with Trae, like he'll try to bait his defender to jump every single time. And Jaden wanted nothing to do with it. And he was disciplined. And I can't wait to watch the game again tomorrow and make that highlight reel. Jaden Springer versus Trae Young. I'll throw it to you, Al. Thoughts on Jaden Springer, especially the last 2 games?
No, I mean, you nailed all the right points here. I mean, it just goes to show you when you have a coach who believes in his young guys and can see the old saying, like the forest through the trees with a guy like Jaden Springer. I mean, he had 2 blocks on the night. He handled one of the most prolific ball handlers and shooters in the NBA. Remember, coming into this, I think the Hawks were, number 3 in points scored per game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, there's moments where you could see he's young and growing, but everything looks sky's the limit for Jaden Springer. And, every time we would bring young guys like him into the organization, you would hear about them, but you would never see them. And that was Doc. That was Brett Brown. It didn't matter. It always seemed like they were never going to be able to get past the other guys. So it's good to see that there's going to be a coach like Nick Nurse who's going to just take these lumps of clay and mold them into the players that they can be. I'm not going to sit here and say Jaden Springer is going to be like a perennial all-star or anything, but he could be under the tutelage of Nick Nurse, and we see a young guy growing right in front of us. And it's great knowing that this team, like, let's be honest, looking at the Sixers over the last couple of years, we kept talking about that window closing. Oh, that window of opportunity. Embiid's getting older. Is Embiid going to stick around? And they're not having any young guys. They can't draft anybody. They have to bring everybody in. Well, being able to bring guys up from the G League, come in, play, and contribute 20 minutes in a game, can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, I think lessons learned in this game, less Marcus Morris, a little bit less Patrick Beverley, more Daniel House, and more Jaden Springer. But, going back to Jaden Springer, I think his fit with Joel Embiid in that dunker spot role is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Taking those Melton minutes as well. So, Mitch, what were your thoughts on Jaden Springer?
I just love how he's actually playing the game that he loves. The fact that he's actually hustling, the defense, the chase down block in the first quarter, that was huge from Jaden Springer. So I love it, man. And I would never embrace him Tobias. There's no way you can get me to.
Steven says, shout out to locking down Ice Tray for lots of the game. Quentin says, embrace the Thompson. Quentin loves him some Tobias Harris.
I do.
Who did hit some big buckets in this one.
He did.
I think Tobias number 2, Maxey, refuses to be aggressive. We will talk about that in a little bit because it was kind of an up and down game from Maxey, especially lately. When he's timid, when he's hesitant to let it rip, when he's not aggressive, I don't like it. I like Tyrese Maxey looks like a completely different ball player when he's attacking relentlessly. Tobias equals Commander Riker. I don't even know who that is. Does anybody know who that is?
No.
All right. Jaden Springer plus Oubre plus Covington plus Batum equals very efficient defensive play. I mean, that was the take in this game, right? Like, especially the last few games, was that how much you've missed Kelly Oubre, how much you've missed Nico Batum for the Philadelphia 76ers. And overall, like, there's some role players that we have to talk about tonight. And let's go into Daniel House. Daniel House in this one finished the game with 14 points. This had to be a best Sixers game by Daniel, House, plus 10. He was 5 for 6 from the field, 3 for 3 from the free throw line. There was an amazing sequence in the second half where, Daniel House, I think, hit a layup, then blocked the shot on the other end, and then back on the other end was involved in like a pick and roll, found Tobias Harris for a catch and shoot 3 from the corner, Mitch. Like I said, it did take Nick Nurse to, sub out Marcus Morris because he got hurt. But Daniel House is showing that he deserves some playing time because Marcus Morris is cooked. I don't know what it is with the Sixers and their fascination with washed-up bigs. He's too old. He's too slow. He doesn't have the legs anymore. But Daniel House showed like he can play. What about you, Mitch?
I agree. Daniel House really improved me. He really proved me wrong. In the beginning, I was getting old vibes from last year and everything. He proved me wrong. He was doing great. And I think with the whole thing with Marcus Morris, it's the fact that he's a Philadelphia kid and they just want him to do well, keep on pushing him out. It's a Philadelphia native and all that. So I agree. They should play Daniel House more.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Al?
I mean, yeah, I think it's his best game since the playoffs last year when in that one Celtics game where he came alive at the end and kind of carried everything. And again, with this team, with the way this team plays, I mean, last year, if you looked at the screen, you knew who was going to be on that. 4 of the 5 guys who are always going to be on that screen. The way Nick Nurse is kind of cycling through guys, giving everybody a chance. But Daniel House, I think you're going to see a lot more of him, and just it's the energy, it's the cohesiveness that he has with his other players, and he's not shy. He's not shy to go after people. So, why not ride that hot hand?
Daniel House finished 4 of 4 under the basket. Again, like Jaden Springer, like we've seen from Batum, and like we've seen from other guys. When Joel Embiid kind of has a teammate that knows how to cut, play that dunker spot. A guy that can space the floor a little bit. We want more of that. I agree, Quentin. I like it a lot. I look at Joe, Bassie, Springer. Morey did his job. By the way, Isaiah Joe had a huge game. I think he hit 7 of 7 from 3 last night or the other night or something.
Last night. It was last night.
I miss Isaiah Joe so much.
I know he was your boy.
So that goes back to when Tiago and I were doing NBA draft content, and he was like one of our favorite prospects. So we've kind of been pumping him up. We're biased. Mm-hmm. William says House needs the Morris minutes, at least until Batum is back. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Who plays first, Oubre or Batum? Who's the first to return, Oubre or Batum?
I would start Oubre, and we're going to talk about freaking Rocco because Rocco was all over the freaking place tonight, man. He was awesome.
Is that your player of the game?
We'll get there. The dude was like setting up teammates, playing great defense, active on both ends. Commander Riker is. I'm not a big Star Trek guy, Quinn. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Quinn. Sorry, Star Trek, Star Wars, I never got into that stuff, so I couldn't tell you much about it.
I know about Star Wars, not Star
Yeah.
Trek. This team just needs another passer, ball handler per Mr. Rudy Poo. They need a ball handler that can feed and beat an entry pass because Tobias Harris sucks at that. We'll get into that in a little bit. There's a lot of things that Tobias Harris is doing really well, especially in transition, especially finishing, but it's not passing the basketball. Yeah, we love the Springer energy. Atlanta did a very good job in the first half of switching and being physical on Maxey. A lot of that came from DeJounte Murray, who shut Maxey down. I was really impressed by him. I was really impressed by Jalen Johnson as a guy that doesn't watch a lot of like basketball beyond the Philadelphia 76ers. That guy was a stud, man. They would need another ball handler creator. Sub Zach Levine. William Bukers says Marcus Morris's value is the $17 million expiring. Absolutely. Can we see more of KJ Martin? So many comments, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. They're rolling.
Keep them
tonight.
rolling.
KJ Martin has got to be. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it because he, like on paper, is a perfect fit for the Sixers and that up-tempo type of game in that Nick Nurse system, but he's not getting any time. They're too deep, man. Jaden Springer is a freak of nature. He plays like a power forward, right? Like he plays. It's kind of like everything we wanted Zaire Smith to be in some regard, because like he can do a little bit of everything. Like the way he crashes the boards, the way he defends in transition, the way he ball stops, it's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny with Springer. Like I'm not doing a comp to this, but it's kind of like when we first had Maxey come on the scene. The young, the energy, the ability to play both sides, offense, defense, going up and down the court. I mean, you saw him do it, and he was at one end, and the next thing he was at the other end, and he's blocking shots, he's making shots, he's getting the guys open. Like I said, you're seeing still some small like growing pains, I guess we'll call them, but yeah, I'm really excited to see where he goes from here.
I mean, Al, you can also go with Paul Reed too when he got drafted, right? He was a hustler. He was out of the mud. Shout out to RB. But Paul Reed did his thing too when he got drafted.
Mm-hmm. Steven says general shout out to Covington, Melton, House in general for stepping up in the absence of Oobs and Batum. In terms of Maxey, this is the negative effect of having Harden teaching me his ways. No mid-range game. William Bucher loves Rocco. We're going to get into that. Chad, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Guys.
What am I, chopped liver, Chad? Jesus.
I love this. Clippers have to be kicking themselves for giving up Rocco and Batum, man. And that's the take, right? Like, you look at what PJ Tucker has given them the last year and a half. Like, Rocco and Batum have given the Sixers 10 times the amount of what PJ Tucker has given them in just this little stretch. And we're going to get into it. Guys, again, if you're watching, please consider subscribing, like this video, help us out. Let's keep rolling. Al, do you want to do a quick ad?
Sure, guys. Hey, remember, when you want to get down to these Sixers games, the best way to do it, I go to Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Sherry'sTickets.com. The price you see on the screen is the price you will pay. I don't care if it's a Sixers game, Phillies game, whatever game, sports, concerts, theater, you name it, they got it. Sherry'sTickets.com, and save an additional 10% by using that great promo code EOP10. That's right, EOP10 will save you 10% off already great prices at Sherry'sTickets.com. No hidden fees, always great prices. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com.
All right. Next up, we got to talk about Tobias Harris, who finished this one yet again with over 20 points, 29 points, 12 of 20 from the field, 3 of 5 from the from 3-point range, which is what you want to see. 10 boards, 3 assists, just 1 turnover. I'll throw it to you, Mitch, your favorite player. Okay. What did you think of Tobias Harris tonight?
Hey, in the beginning, he started out slow. He was not hitting his shots. He was not getting to the right spots. But then he flipped the switch. He flipped it, man. I don't know. He's just gone out guns blazing, exactly what you need for the third option here. So I like it, man. I really do. It's the first time I'm ever going to say that. But, yeah, he had a very good game. He's my player of the game when we go there.
All right. What about you, Al?
Mitch, I don't know how you don't love Toby. I mean, listen, I know I think people continue to put the Toby contract to the Toby person because it's two different things. And I
Totally.
think and I had to give Doc a little credit for it last year because it started last year, but I think Nick Nurse is definitely running with it and making it bigger, finding the best scenario to get the most out of Toby, and you're getting that catch and shoot. You look at the green right there. No, he's not in the paint, but he's doing his job. He's getting a perimeter. He's working out around the foul line. He is getting guys to get off their feet so he can get a chance to get into the open spot. That is what you need from a guy like Tobias Harris. Stop worrying about what he's making and worry about what he can do for you and the positioning he can do.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Here's his shot chart: 5 of 8 at the rim. And his ability to fit that Nick Nurse system in transition has been a revelation. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect him to match that as well as he did. I mean, look at the 3-point shooting, hitting a corner three, kind of hitting shots, big moments in this one as well. So Quentin says, yeah, I had Toby do the sheet. We will get there in just a little bit.
If someone goes first and takes him, not my fault.
I will not be taking him. Nope. William Puker says, Toby deserves his flowers. Interesting to see the next contract. That's key. Maybe the minority, but would love him back at a reasonable price. Nurse is unlocking him. That's kind of the take, right? Like, you look at the upcoming potential trade with Levine, with an OG, and trading your depth. Like, all things considered, like Tobias Harris is one of your best wing defenders, and as a lot of people don't want to admit it, and that. When you get rid of also additional wings like a Rocco, a Batum, or a KJ Martin, like there's fear that they're going to lose a lot of some of the foundation of what makes this Sixers team so exciting is the fact that they have so many guys that they can throw with length and athleticism and things like that. But also on the other end, you look at OG and that next contract, and you bring him in. If Nick Nurse is unlocking Tobias Harris like this. With OG Anunoby.
Listen, if I agree with the last comment, if you can get Tobias Harris back at a reasonable, listen, if Tobias Harris was a reasonable contract from the get, everybody would be in love with him. Nobody would ever talk about getting rid of him. Every time trades come down because of the whole you have to match the cost is why Tobias Harris's name always comes up, because he's paid like a superstar. He's not a superstar, but he can be at times. If he's paid the right amount of money, I'm always there. I always feel like when you talk about Tobias Harris, you have to go, I love Tobias Harris, but there's always that but in there. I like Tobias Harris. I think he's a really good player. He's just not what him and his dad got the Sixers at the right time. They had to make a move. They had to make a signing to save face. And you can't get mad for a guy getting paid.
Right. Absolutely. No doubt. Steven says his defense has always been understated. Let's roll on to Joel Embiid in this one. 32 points, 11 of 11 from the field. He did have 4 turnovers, but right away, the big thing about Joel Embiid in this one was the 8 assists. Here's his shot chart. I thought he looked excellent with Rocco and Jaden Springer. Cutting to the basket, finding open teammates. That was the big takeaway for me. Like, Al, what do you think you saw from Joel Embiid?
You see what you're supposed to see. Now, actually, this is the greatest Joel Embiid chart to look at right now. I mean, where was he big at? Green, in the paint, under the basket. That's where the big man's supposed to be. They knew he was struggling with the threes. They were talking about it pregame, how he was working on his threes in the last couple of games because people are trying to force him out. This time, they let him go in. They paid for it. Joel Embiid, it's funny when you have a guy who can score 32 points in a game, and it's just like it's expected. And that's the kind of thing you're getting from Joel Embiid, and he did exactly what he's supposed to do. And this is the kind of chart I want to see Joel Embiid. Listen, if he's going to go 4 for 5 from 3. That's great on a certain night. But this is the chart I expect to see more often.
Yep. Steven says Tobias Harris has the Sixers Iggy syndrome. Tobias is a great number 3, making number 2 money, but that's on brand, not Toby. Absolutely agree. Joe had his mid-range game. going today. No red area is the instant observation. Great comment there as well. I mean, that's been Nick Nurse's, he's been getting Joel Embiid in better spots, getting him to the basket, especially I saw that in the first quarter. I thought the Sixers did a really good job of getting Embiid, back to being physical and bullying the Hawks down low, like Capella, like those. That's barbecue chicken, man. They have no chance against Joel Embiid. What about you, Mitch? Any thoughts on Joel before we get into player of the game?
It's the playmaking for me. I just love how he's getting like 5 assists, 6 assists, 8 assists. We've been talking about this throughout his whole career, and then now with Nick Nurse and now with these pieces, we're seeing him in front of our eyes. And also, his free throw shooting. How many times did he get to the line tonight?
11. 11 of 11. 11 of 11.
That's insane. Like, he does that on a consistent basis.
Oh, yeah.
It's
almost
incredible.
automatic for him. It's impressive. And Mitch, good point there. Also, the other good point is to take away from this, even just in the small sample size of what the season has been, is that you see them setting up plays where he isn't the main man, where they start around the horn in one way, get it to him in the middle, everybody crashes to him knowing that he's going to take the shot, and then he finds that open guy, and he's okay with it. It's like the ego has definitely come down on him, and maybe because not having a second superstar in a Ben Simmons or in James Harden, or which he doesn't feel like he has to be the alpha dog. He knows he's the alpha dog with this crew, and it is definitely a chemistry thing so far this early on in the season.
I agree.
I'm actually glad you said that because I'm really against Zach LaVine. If we get Zach LaVine in here, the ball touches that Embiid will diminish. Same with Maxey. I don't want that. I want Caruso. OG, or even Malcolm Brogdon if he's healthy. I'll take those three over LaVine.
Yeah. I go back and forth on that every day. Every day. Because as much as I agree, it's more so Zach LaVine's defense that scares me than Zach LaVine on the ball. Because I think there's a lot of potential of Zach LaVine off the ball, especially winning those non Tyrese Maxey minutes. And this is coming from an OG guy, and I'm a big Anunoby guy, but I think there's plus and minuses to both courts, right? So for me, like the Sixers, when Tyrese Maxey is off the court, they have no ball, they have no playmaking, they have zero creators, they have zero ball handling. At least that's what intrigues you about a Zach LaVine, is that he can give you that piece and he can get hot, and maybe if like Tyrese Maxey takes a night off, he can fill that role as a secondary ball handler. But it's the defense that I'm scared of on my end. Yep. William says the cutters are a godsend for Joel's playmaking. Helps him out so much when he gets doubled. Shame he had to sit is Doc's stagnant ISO system for years. Absolutely. That's the take of this game, is that you love to see everyone else get involved. This has been kind of the Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid show, for better or worse. And that's kind of what it's going to be until Oubre gets back, until Batum gets back. So that's what it is. Quentin says, I don't want Zach either. You need an A-plus defender next to LaVine. Absolutely. Don't want Zach LaVine here. We'll take touches away. Again, I just want to say LaVine is a great shooter, and I think people don't understand how good he can be off ball. I'll just throw that there. Let's roll on to one more ad, and we'll get to player of the game.
All right, guys, remember, talking about going to the game, what about you want to travel with the best? Travel with PhillySportsTrips.com. That's right. Guys, you can't wait. Christmas time has come up. This is the best time to get a present for somebody. Don't have to leave your house. You can do it from your phone. Boom, you pay for it. There you go. Even wrapping, it's easy. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com. Dallas trip's already booked up. That's right. The next available trip now is the Seattle trip, but all the home games are available for great tailgates, great Flyers ones. They're going to have Sixers ones coming up. I was talking to the owner, Vince, the other day. Some big news coming out of Philly Sports Trips, and Edge of Philly Sports will be there the whole way through. Can't wait. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com and sign up now.
All right. Guys, that being said, keep the comments coming. Give this video a like if you love Jaden Springer. Again,
Smash that subscribe button, please.
Yes, please. Let's get into player of the game. Player of the game. How do I not give it to Al? I mean, it's your first post game this season. You are the boss, man. So you get the nod.
This is a tough one in this case. I kind of want to go, and I'm going to do this just because I'm stealing it from Mitch. I'm going to Tobias Harris in this one. You know what I mean? I knew Mitch was going to go there, so I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to steal it from him. Listen, even though it's 29 points, even with Tobias, it's always a quiet 29 points. And he becomes that number 3 that acts like a number 2 in these moments. And talking about filling in for guys who aren't there, Tobias Harris steps up, and when he steps up, it's big. And tonight was a big night. Again, like I said, a very prolific offense. If you look at the scoring graph, the lead graph going into this one, it was definitely in the first half of the game a lot of red more than we want to see. But because of Tobias Harris, that game became out of reach for the Hawks. So I'm gonna go with Toby on this one.
All right.
This was the 6th nod for Tobias Harris for player of the game in 12 games. That's 50%. 50%. Tobias Harris has player of the game nods.
I know what I'm getting Mitch for Christmas. Big old Tobias Harris jersey.
All right. So is it me, Dimes, or you?
Oh, go ahead, man. Yeah,
right.
I know where
I'm going with. I'm not going with Embiid. I'm going with Daniel House Jr. for what he did off the bench. If it was for Marcus Morris getting injured, prayers up to him. Hopefully everything's okay. Our bench wasn't doing that good in the first half at all. Then in the second half, Daniel House Jr. took over. So for me, that is mine, Daniel House Jr. I want to see more of him.
Daniel House Jr. with Mitch's selection is a great selection, man. I love the picks that are like not the obvious ones. Those are big minutes. Like Marcus Morris. Listen, I wish nothing but the best for Marcus Morris, and I hope for a speedy recovery. I don't know what his injury is, but that's a blessing in disguise. You know, he's not ready. He's just not ready. He looks what it is. I wanted Mitch to admit Tobias.
I live for another day.
Barry, what's going on? Barry says, so nice to have Melton back in last year's form.
That's my runner-up right there, if you want to give anything. D. Melton never gets – I don't think he gets enough love. I mean, he comes up with some clutch threes that really sparks this team. What was he, 3 for 7 tonight? Mm-hmm. And, you know, he gets his minutes in there. And he was like – when we got the trade for him, I was super excited. I felt like it was underrated, and he's been underrated the entire time. I love D. Melton, and I agree. He would be my runner-up tonight.
Yeah, less is more with Melton. Like, that's a guy that just should not have the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter. And if he can get back to, like, coming off the bench or, you know, being a guy that just strictly spaces the floor, defends, and you get the ball away from him, if the Sixers can find another ball handler to add to this roster, I think that is just the world difference when it comes to D'Anthony Melton. Because I like Melton as a player, just not in this role. So let's keep that going. Blaze Radio says Toby. Quentin psyched up. And we're going to get to that in a second. It was good to see the bench produce a little more, to see us put the team away. Should have won by 20, but good to see them hold the team off. Mitch, please do a show on the strength of schedule between Boston and the Sixers. I mean, this is the Sixers' 4th game in 6 days.
Right.
Think about that. Like, that's pretty nuts. Williams says, love Melton, but he needs to pay attention in the lineup. Dude, is Melton the worst? It's so funny because we killed Robert Covington and his inability to finish at the rim. And now you have Melton, who is under 30% inside 10 feet. Under 30%. That is crazy. Like Melton's like one of the worst finishers I've ever seen. It's almost hilarious at this point. And when he hits threes at like a 40+% rate, it's crazy. It blows my mind. Tobias always plays good against lower teams, but disappoints. I somewhat disagree with that. My player of the game is Jaden Springer.
Yep.
Surprise, surprise. Springer was awesome again. Back-to-back player of the game nods from me for Jaden Springer. Having a ball stopper, having a guy that can fight through screens, having a guy that can defend the pick and roll. Jaden Springer is a huge component of this. The Sixers do not have any defenders. Well, they really lack guards that can defend at the attack point. And I think Jaden Springer is such a key rotational player to this team. And the fact that we finally have Nick Nurse buying in, the fact that Jaden Springer's starting to get confidence, like we already know about the defense. But if Joel Embiid starts to find confidence in finding him in the dunker spot, finding him cutting to the basket, finding him easy baskets, we all know Jaden Springer is kind of a confidence dude. And if he can get going, man, especially like there's some playmaking potential with Jaden Springer. Jaden Springer, hands down, my player of the game. No doubt about it.
He should have at least one more block on his stats tonight. I think there was a couple. You know me, I'm not much good saying this out loud, but the officiating of the game, especially in the beginning, was a little suspect at times.
Yep, absolutely. William says, "Thanks, Doc, for getting rid of Isaiah Joe." Oh man, me and Tiago got killed for complaining about this last year. It's good to see people finally coming around just a little bit. All right, Al, one more ad before we get into grades.
All right, guys. Sometimes things happen in life and you need somebody to fight for your rights. David R. Cherry is the man. You get hurt at work, car accident, personal injury, criminal law. These are all life-altering moments, and you need the best to fight for you. And that's right, David R. Cherry is the man. You go to cherryinjurylaw.com or call him simply at 610-565-0300. Again, cherryinjurylaw.com or call Dave directly at 610-565-0300. cherryinjurylaw.com. The Cherry firm will fight for your rights.
All right, guys, let's get into team grades. Let's get it.
Don't you feel it? Sweetness and light for my restless mind. Please give me a way to escape this world gone astray. You could give me a little peace of mind in these troubled times.
Team grades. Let's go out. A to F. How would you grade tonight's performance?
This is definitely a B+ game. Could have been an A. A little, like I said, some sloppy moments. There's times they kept the breakaway points should have been there a lot more. This, I think one of the commenters said something earlier. This could have been a 20-point differential game. It should have been some sloppiness in the beginning. That's where the B+ comes in. But if they didn't have that, this definitely would have been an A game for me across the board.
All right, B+ for Al. Barry says a couple of points taken away from Springer too, and some bad calls. As well. Like, Springer was awesome, man. Springer should have had that dunk too. There it is. Yep.
The back-to-back too. Was that one against the Hawks a makeup call?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Can anyone explain why Bama's not playing? He stinks.
He's terrible, William. He's terrible.
Yep.
He's even worse than Montrezl Harrell, I think.
Yeah, it's no Bamba, not Mo Bamba.
I like that. William says, I'd say solid B. The second quarter was painful basketball. Mitch better rate the team an A for Tobias Harris. And then Quentin loves my Furcon highlight reel. Nick Nurse is still figuring out this team, but a B. What about you, Mitch?
I have to go with a B+ here. I'm going with my man Al here. There was a couple moments in this game I was just like, why was that there? A couple bad shot selections and everything. But it was still a good, very good game overall. The Hawks were on the way back, but then the Sixers took over, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. All right. I'll go B. I'll go B. I expected the Sixers to win this one. There are some times when I get a little kind of upset with this offense. I think Nick Nurse is still figuring things out for better or worse. And I think we're learning that, more Daniel House, less Marcus Morris, more Jaden Springer, a little bit less Pat Bev, a little bit less Melton, a little bit more Jaden Springer. So it's happening in increments. So just baby steps. Give me a B. We'll give this game a B plus, and we will roll on a lot better than the Sixers' grade of a D plus against the Celtics, which is good to see. And I'm tracking all this, so we'll have graphs and stuff. We should probably make this into an article and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I've got all the data. I've got all the data here of player of the game wins and things like.
We could do like quarterly report cards. That's all.
Oh yeah,
I like that. Really I like that. Yeah.
William says Tobias will disappear in games. We have seen this show before. Was Furk out? Don't recall seeing him. I mean, I would rather have Furkan in there than Marcus Morris. No question. At least Furkan will give you a shot or two.
Furk was on the phone trying to find a trade for him for himself. So he's busy trying to get out of Philly. But yeah, no. I listen. I get the Tobias comment there too. Listen, I'm not saying Tobias Harris is my favorite player, but when Tobias shows up, he shows up. But there is times he can come up small, but they all can. I mean, we saw that with Embiid over the last couple games up and tonight, came up very small. So it's, it is a flaw of his. Tobias Harris is not perfect in any which way. That's for sure.
There's up and downs with Tobias. Like, his passing was so bad. It's so bad, man. Like, there's times in this game when they have like a 2-on-1 in transition, and there's like a wide open Daniel House. Get rid of the ball. Like, he's always a second or 5 too late. And that includes, getting the ball down low to Embiid. He does not do that well whatsoever. So that's my only issue with Tobias is, man, his awareness when it comes to finding open teammates is horrendous.
And when he does struggle, he amplifies it because he gets in his own head. Like, that's the other key factor with him. When he gets in his own head, he becomes his own worst enemy, and he makes some dumb mistakes, or quietly just sinks into the corner somewhere.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, this Sixers offense is still learning. It's still trying to figure itself out. And with that, we've seen it. Like, there's been some bad offensive possessions from Joel Embiid, from Tobias Harris, dribbling way too much, shots late in the shot clock. It's by far like the foundation of this Sixers offense is very clear. Like, when they're moving the ball quick, when they're cutting to the basket, when Joel Embiid's seeing the double team, it's a beautiful thing. It's all there. They still need to improve. They still need a ball handler. They still need to shoot more volume threes, and they know that, and it'll happen when it happens.
The one question I'll have for you guys before we head out is, like, 12 games in right now, knowing what we knew going into this season, before James Harden was moved even. I mean, being above 500 right now, knowing what the schedule was, knowing who you're playing, Boston twice, Milwaukee in the first game, like, being around 500 was where we expected, I think. The fact that you're number 2 at 9-3, and like you said, that this isn't a finished product in any which way.
This is an A+. I mean, like, from a Sixers perspective, this is by far an A+ start to the regular season. Just in the sense of an entertainment perspective. Like, this is a 180 from everything we saw from Doc Rivers. They're moving the basketball. When it looks good, it's the best basketball period we have seen, period, in a long time, period. And, and that's, you saw Embiid, with his playmaking, you saw the length and the athleticism and the depth. So for me, pound for pound, this is the best Sixers team I've seen, or the most fun Sixers team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no drama. Zero drama. That should be like their hashtag. It's like, Philly Unite or whatever it is. What's it? I don't know what is it. Oh, brotherly love this year. Yeah.
Brotherly love, yeah.
Yeah, it should be a hashtag no drama this year, or so hashtag just no drama, because that's what it's been.
Yep. William says, I am happy with the Sixers, better than I thought. Doc Rivers sucks. Amen.
Doc Rivers is stuck in 2008, bro. That's what it is. Like, he just thinks he reminds me of Chip Kelly in some small way. Like, don't worry, my system will work. Sooner or later, it will work. Well, it doesn't.
Yep. Quinn says I'd sign Brick Simmons for the vet minimum. And it's an A from a hope perspective, that's for sure. And just like looking at Embiid and his, projecting his potential down the road, it's definitely opened up his window for sure.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. The one thing that really worried me going into the season with the James Harden drama, like how much was it going to push him to want to leave here more? Just he wants to get away from the seamlessly ending insanity that was known as the Sixers drama. So I think it energized him and kind of, we always see that in the beginning, in the off season, like, oh, will he stay? He makes his little comments, little snide remarks. But I think that also from that point makes me feel like he may be a Sixer for life.
Yep. And I think you just look at the body language in general, it's been so much better. William wants Lauri Markkanen. That's the number one target, no question. That's the number one target. If Utah and if Danny Ainge even remotely come close to making him available, you give up all the first round picks for him.
I can't imagine Danny Ainge making any trades that would work in the favor of the Sixers at all. I mean, unless Lauri's like the knee blew out and he didn't tell us at the last second. That man, any trades with him, I would be suspect to any of them.
Having an elite floor spacer at the 4 like Lauri with Maxey, and because that's what you want to do, right? Like if you're giving up all these first round picks, you just accumulated, and that's no disrespect, bitch, but that's the problem with Caruso. His value is too high. Like there's no way we just got first round picks, and I'm giving it for Alex freaking Caruso.
I would not give up first.
Rotation player. He's a rotation player.
Somebody's going to overbid for him. Caruso's going to somebody's going to overpay for him, and they can't. And I think that the fact that the Sixers are showing that they're happy, and listen, a little bit is just making them feel like that, like, oh, we're not going to just give them, we're not going to do it for nothing, or we're not going to do it for everything. Like you guys it's got to be reasonable. But somebody out there will overpay for him, and that's the problem, and that's in many leagues, not just the NBA. But somebody will overpay for him. And Steven's comment here, I think, is pretty spot on. Like, because this is definitely a year where I don't feel like the shoe's dropping as much as any other year. So I like Steven's comment here. I'm on board with him on this one.
I love Caruso, but like you're right, Al. Like I feel like his value is at an all-time high right now, when I don't think it should be. William says Nick Nurse has energized the whole team. I'll sell my soul to beat KC in Dallas. We are all rooting against the Jazz 1,000%. I will give 3 first-round picks for Lauri Markkanen, and you then have a core 3 of Maxey, and Embiid, and Markkanen. That's 3 that fit each other really well. At least on paper, that works really well.
Weird question, but like listening to the post-game shows with Nick Nurse and all that, if you close your eyes, doesn't he sound like Nick Sirianni? Like just the way he talks and his and the words he uses, like it's almost Sirianni sounding, like not as energetic in the sense like where he's like and telling some crazy stories or something, but just the way he talks, it sounds Nick Nursian a little bit.
A little bit, I get that. Rather have OG than Caruso by a mile. Caruso is sneaky old. He's not that old.
27.
Again, the piece with OG is the contract.
What is sneaky old?
Yeah.
What is like I forget how old you are, sneaky old. Like, does he age faster than the other people? I don't know.
What is it, like 36?
Yeah, like he's a young-looking 35.
Springer is starting to get his sea legs. Absolutely. Steven says wants to see it. Well, hold on. Especially get his sea legs and expect minutes the next game. unlike Doc Rivers, who would see Paul Reed play really well and then pull him for a month, and he would never see the court. So Steven says, want to see how we do against the second or third time around teams before asserting who I want. That's the name of the game, right, Steven? Like, if there's anything we have learned is that the Sixers should be in no rush to make a move. Let the chips fall. Maybe even another player we don't even know, like a Brandon Ingram, becomes available. Then there's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the kind of the reports right now, like Twitter and everything. They're saying that Caruso could fetch a similar trade to Drew Holiday, which, I mean, Holiday's older, but he's not where Drew Holiday. I mean, that was like 2 first-round picks and 2 players, two good players too. It wasn't just like, a couple names to move it around. So
Matisse Thybulle was an All-NBA defender and went for 2 second-round picks and Jalen McDaniels, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's an overpay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'd rather not. I mean, like I said, they're happy with what they have now. Let's see where this goes. It's still early. Ride the train a little bit. There's no reason to rush it.
Kyle Lowry as a point guard, I like that a lot. No doubt.
How much do you think he's got left in the tank, Kyle Lowry?
I mean, if you're just looking for a ball handler, like just for like 15 minutes, if he's willing to accept that role, I'm good. All right. Let's finish shop here. Mitch, plugs, final thoughts on the win against the Hawks. Time's yours.
Hey, we still have a shot in the in-season tournament. We still have a shot. I can't believe I said that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, they'll win more money. Do we do a parade down Broad Street for that one?
I don't know, but we should all go to that. We do.
It'll be in the Target parking lot if you guys need us. Any reason for me to day drink, I'm in for it. You know what I mean?
Right. But guys, yes, you can find me on Mitch Coxie on YouTube, Hardcore Sports Network, and Edge of Philly Sports. Okay, you can find me.
All right. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, if you can't find me, you're not looking hard enough. You can find me on Twitter at Big Al EOP, as well as on our website at eopsports.com. And Wednesday nights, 8:30 with Joe and Fred, as well as a lot of the Flyers, Clear the Ice postgame. I'll be on some more of these here with you guys as well. And the big one coming up Monday night, I got the graphic out for you. I'll be posting on social media. Here is your lineup for your Eagles Chiefs Monday night matchup, pre-half and post-game. That's right. That is one motley-looking crew, guys, and I'll be on the post-game with Matty B, Joey Woods, and Ryan. Of course, Dibes, Ryan, Marks will be holding it down. And then, of course, halftime for a quick halftime moment with Shane and Dibes' quick comments for the first half.
Love it, love it, love it. Oh, man, I can't wait for that game, man. Yeah, like William said, don't forget to like. Please consider subscribing wherever you're watching.
Thanks, William.
EOPsports.com.
That's my guy, man.
Tomorrow, Saturday, expect all the college football winners of the week and highlight reels and things like that. On Sunday, me and Ryan will be doing our top 10 edge rushers in the 2024 NFL draft. If you haven't seen it already, last week we did top 10 cornerbacks, and I'm telling you, all of them are like amazing prospects. So those are all.
Anybody available around the 32 marker?
Yes. Like a handful. It's a really deep class. 10 guys that I think have day 1, day 2 grades. So really.
And listen, nobody does the draft better than EOP, and of course, Dibes runs that end of things with Ryan and Shane and Mark Henry Jr. Like, yeah, best draft coverage all year long. You can't find it anywhere else here at EOP Sports.
We are just ramping up because it is November. We will have our top 10 rankings of every position, but we'll also have like highlight reels and shorts and things like that. Because I've been tracking this all season long. So I have highlight reels ready to go, scouting reports and breakdowns and PFF scores and everything. So it's going to be really fun as we get ready for draft season. And there are reports that there's going to be now underclassmen going to the Senior Bowl allowed and things like that. Like as those like draft sickos like me that love the Senior Bowl, it's going to be really, really fun. So if you love the NFL draft, go check that out. We will be ramping that up like crazy. Give my man Al a follow on Twitter at Big Al EOP. He is Mitch Kofsky at Mitch Kofsky. Again, guys, thank you everyone for the comments. It was a blast. We will be back on Sunday, probably for a watch party, Mitch. I think we're doing a watch party.
Oh, we get to see Ben Simmons. Yay.
Oh, yeah, that's probably going to happen. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. And post game for Al, for Mitch, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.